Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to another installment of the Growing with Soul podcast, where we explore the moments and stories that shape who we're becoming. I'm Marisol, and this is where I love to have real conversations about growth, self-discovery, and learning to put yourself first. Whether we're diving into books that change our perspective or unpacking personal experiences that teach us something new, this podcast is for women who are done playing small and ready to embrace their own journey. If you've struggled with putting everyone else first or battled self-doubt, you're in the right place. This isn't about perfection. It's about the messy, beautiful process of growing into yourself. So come grow with me. We are talking about the American dream in this episode. And let's face it, the American dream is a crock of shit at this point. Or maybe it always has been, because when you think about it, the American dream was never supposed to pertain to someone like me. It was never supposed to pertain to any person of color. But, let's just put a pin in that for a second, put a pin in that. But essentially, when it comes to how we as people define success, which the American dream is essentially the pinnacle of success for the everyday person, in large part, our definitions of success are shaped and molded by the cards we're dealt. And again, let's face it, the cards that millennials and Gen Z have been dealt are absolutely horrible. They suck. So how are we supposed to achieve success and actually believe in that and keep moving forward? Which, you know what? A lot of people are not doing okay. And we can tell through our definitions of success and what making it now looks like. So if we look back at this notion of the American dream, we have our idea of what we think of when we hear that term or when we speak of that term. We think, white picket fence, house in the suburbs, lawn, nuclear family, maybe you got a dog. That's what we picture. And the thing about that terminology is that it can be traced back to about 1895. And around that time in the early 1900s, it referred to Americans' penchant for consumer goods, because of course it did. Of course, it referred to American consumerism even back then. Americans, we love a nice thing. We like having a thing in the United States, okay? But by 1931, it was re-envisioned to define this supposed ability that we have in the United States for social mobility if we worked hard enough. Again, the whole bootstrap mentality is really tied to this, and I think this definition is definitely still an undercurrent of what we picture in terms of that white picket fence, house in the suburbs, nuclear family, 2.5 kids, golden retriever. That might be the everyday American dream, but there's still this notion behind it of having class mobility, social mobility. And the thing about it is that is this still attainable? I think it has been in the past, definitely during the boomer era. Boomers were definitely able to do this. Just look at if you're my generation, I'm a millennial. So if you're my generation, if you're an immigrant or the child of immigrants, your parents, my parents definitely were able to do that. But in 2026, is this attainable? Is this realistic? I'd say no. No, it's not for the average person. And that's why our measures of success are shifting and are so different now. So let's look at this shift in perspective. Now, housing, because that's, again, the image in our minds with the American dream is a fucking house. So let's look at housing for a second. Is it realistic for some, again, context? I'm 35, going to be 36 in a few months. My parents owned a home by this time. Do I own a home? Fuck no. Do most millennials and anybody who's Gen Z at this point own a home? Mochi is very opinionated about this because no, we do not own homes. So what exactly is the goal? I have seen a lot of people online, and again, with my own personal experience, I can definitely relate that it is like making it now is being able to afford your own place. Making it now is being able to not have to have roommates. Like that is the goal. Like our parents were able to easily have their own places if they wanted to, or, maybe not like easily, but it was attainable to afford a home previously. Whereas now it's life goals to not have roommates. It's life goals to have your own like 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom if you're feeling rich, washer dryer in unit. What? Who has that? That's luxury now. That's crazy. But that is now the definition of success, whether we realize it or not. Like whether we recognize that that is what we have come to aspire to, whereas before that was a stepping stone. Now, housing, as we all know, is crazy expensive. I feel like that's like I can go without even saying that, but let's be clear, it's crazy expensive. And in an article published by Letters in Science magazine from UC Davis, Alex Russell and Maria Sestito highlight this, and they highlight that the costs of property keeps new generations of Americans from owning homes. The average price of a home spiked from under $300,000 in 2012 to over $500,000 in 2022. This is especially true in California, where the median home price recently topped more than $900,000. I am in Los Angeles. I am born and raised in California. I've pretty much only ever lived in California. So, yes, I can relate to this so hard. And that $900,000 point for housing, like that, if you're looking at all of California, fine, I can see that as average. But like, I'm in Los Angeles. I see sad little homes in the city of LA go for over $1 million. And it's like, that's not even a starter home. That's a disgrace. That's a disgrace of a home. And that's $1 million. So yeah, shit is crazy. But when you add on top of that, the fact that wages have also not increased with time, like not really, like productivity has increased significantly over the last like 30 plus years, but wages haven't increased. Like if you look at the charts, the freaking lines aren't going in the same direction here, okay? So they're not increasing at the same rate. And then when you also look in terms of success and finances, we also, as a generation and also Gen Z, like there is a serious lack of benefits and a serious lack of retirement in association with that. Like time and again, I see people commenting online, people talking about finances and things like that, and like savings and investing for retirement. And it's just like, how? The common complaint is in terms of like what I tend to do, I spend a good portion of my time on and off, like watching videos about finance and personal finance. And a lot of the comments under these videos is always like, well, how am I supposed to do this on the money that I make? Like I can hardly even afford my bills, afford my rent, let alone have anything left over to save, to invest. So we as a generation, and I'm including Gen Z with us, since they're also relatively new into the workforce and starting to deal with all this or have been dealing with all this, we are struggling, to put it lightly. And because of that, how we are defining success is no longer what previous generations have defined as success. And we are shifting our values around that as well, because instead of focusing on finances and focusing on maybe even like material things as the fruits of our labor, we are now looking for other things to show success and redefining what a successful life looks like. Because, we're getting less bang for our buck. So now we as two generations are looking at quality of the present moment. We're looking at work-life balance. That has become a central aspect of success in the present day. We are looking for flexible work arrangements, prioritizing mental health. We are setting boundaries in our personal lives at work. Like one of the things I absolutely love is, I hate it, but I love it for Gen Z, where people definitely I see a lot of Gen X and like boomers talking about like, nobody wants to work. And then it's like, well, why are they saying that? Oh, because like Gen Z don't fuck around. Like Gen Z is out here being like, am I going to get paid for that extra time? Like, oh my God, do you guys remember? Actually, I don't remember that person was Gen Z, but it's a good example. There was maybe like a year or two ago, there was a person who like, there was scheduled, forgive me if I get a part of the story wrong, but this person was scheduled to clock into work, I think like 9 a.m. around that time. So they had like a workout class that they do in the morning before they go to work, like scheduled regularly. But their boss called them at like 7 o'clock in the morning and was like, I need you to come in for a meeting. And the person was like, is this going to be like, am I clocking in for this? Am I going to be paid extra time for this? Like, how is this going to work? Because I'm not supposed to start until 9. And then like the boss was like, no extra time, just like coming to work for this meeting. Like basically you're not going to get paid for this extra time. And the person was like, no, if I'm not going to be clocking in, I'm not going to attend the meeting. I have a yoga class or whatever. And then like they went they had the normal morning, went to the yoga class or whatever it was, and then like went into work at the time that they were scheduled to be in work. And it was this whole fiasco online. But the thing is, like, that's what it is. It's people who are younger who have seen millennials and other people like struggle and give up so much of their lives. Because man, millennials had that girl boss era, okay, where we just drove ourselves into the ground. So they've seen how that doesn't actually result in much for most people. So a lot of Gen Z, they are setting boundaries like that. And then for other generations, older generations, it translates to they don't want to work. And it's like, no, baby, they don't want to get exploited. Okay. So there's that aspect to it that I do love and appreciate for people doing that and like starting to shift work culture in that way. But it is indicative of people shifting how they view success and how they are defining what they want in life in the present moment. So I have a new segment in the podcast called Growing Pains. And this is where I talk about where I'm struggling or grappling with something. And again, just signifying that like I'm human too, even though, I'm over here, I'm a certified life coach and I work with individuals on a myriad of different things, but also I'm working on things for myself as well. And like I mentioned earlier in the episode, I live in Los Angeles, born and raised in California. Housing is crazy expensive. This is something that I struggle with on the daily here in LA because I do look for housing. I look for, just different places, different areas. Rent is increasing every year, like all the time. Like it is crazy out here. And whenever I look for housing, I'm aiming low, people. Okay. I am one person and a mochi, my dog. And I look for studios. Like I'm not looking for a 1 bedroom. If I'm looking at a building where like the studios and the 1 bedrooms are like relatively the same price, and I'm like, then I'll consider 1 bedroom. But like I'm looking for a 1 bedroom in a decent area that has a balcony because Mochi needs sunlight and to sunbathe. Like Mochi, oh my God, he lives his best life. Like he sunbathes, like, and it's just I'm jealous. I want to be Mochi in my next life. Anyway. So that's it. That's all I want. A neighborhood where I feel safe walking my dog at night and a studio and a balcony. That's it. That's all I want. I'm not asking for much, okay? And it is crazy because I have seen studios not even in the city of Los Angeles, okay? I'm in the greater LA area. I have seen studios in the greater LA area in Orange County, not even like the super fancy parts of Orange County. I have seen studios for $2,500. A pinche studio. How are you gonna tell me a studio is so fucking luxurious that it is $2,500? That's exploitation. Okay, that is ridiculous. Somebody needs to go to jail. That's a little bit of an exaggeration, but maybe not. Anyway, so that's what I'm struggling with. Because how am I supposed to afford that as one person? That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. I remember talking to my sister, but like I found a 1 bedroom apartment relatively nearby where I currently live. And the 1 bedroom was going for 1925, something like that. Like 1925, around there, 1950, something like that. And I was talking to her about it, and she was like, that's fucking crazy because the townhome that she had purchased 10 years ago in the San Diego area was like 1950. A fucking townhome was the same price as this 1-bedroom apartment? No. Somebody has to go to jail. Somebody has to go to jail. The landlords. Anyway, so that's my struggle. I'm right there with you for all of you who are struggling with housing costs. So I touched on earlier what the new goals are and how we're redefining success for all of ourselves as millennials, as Gen Z, maybe Gen Alpha when you start working, but hopefully we are able to change things by then. But what are these new goals that we are setting for ourselves? These new pinnacles, if you will, of success. And honestly, that is, like I mentioned before, quality of life. But what does that entail? Community connection, meaningful relationships. Again, we're looking at mental health. I'm a huge proponent that community and healthy relationships and connections are a significant part of mental health, if not about our physical health as well. So community connection, meaningful relationships, mental health. We're looking at personal fulfillment. We're looking at purpose-driven work. Because if we're not going to get paid anything, my heart better fucking be in it. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, time freedom. And we're looking at experiences over material possessions. Again, like all the travel vlogs and stuff, like people, like that's the other thing as well. Like a lot of people don't have a ton of money, but depending on how we prioritize or we spend our money, a lot of us are still able to do certain things. So a lot of people prioritize maybe travel, even if it's like a local thing, a day trip, something, new experiences, new places, even if it isn't like international or out of state. So we are shifting success because success might be doing a day trip, say to San Diego, instead of, I don't know, buying a new home. Crazy that we're like putting that on the same, same level. But again, it's like I mentioned before, we're like, my definition of success isn't like buying a house. It's like, I want a 2-bedroom with a washer and dryer unit and a balcony. God, I want to cry. Anyway, if you relate to this, if you stay this long, well, let me know what your definitions of success are. Like, hit me up, send me a DM. I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok. Send me a DM on what your definition of success is and how this economic state has essentially impacted you and like affected you. Definitely take some time to also, if you haven't really thought about it too much, no problem. That's what we're here for. Take some time to reflect on what all of this means for you. Like what shift has impacted you? What are you shifting and how you see things? And really take some time to think about your own definitions of success. Because sometimes you kind of just get stuck in life and just moving forward and kind of doing the same thing, and we get stuck in our routine without really assessing what we're working towards. Or maybe we have defined success for ourselves without truly being cognizant or conscious of it. So take some time to really become one with your definition of success. And the other thing as well is that this economic situation, like where you are in terms of your finances, yes, there is a lot that we can do for ourselves in terms of improving our financial situation. And again, I tell you that I listen to personal finance stuff all the time. I'm constantly thinking about how to improve my own financial situation for my present day and for my future. But it's not easy because one little thing that I've learned over the years of listening to all these personal finance things is that the only way to really improve your financial situation is by making more money. Like you might see all those YouTube videos being like 10 tips to save more money or like 3 things to do to like start investing now or whatever. Like you just how to pay off your student loans, make more money. That's it. Are there things you can do to help yourself? Yeah, but like the main thing, make more money. Anyway, with that situation, because we are looking at systemic things that are impacting our financial situation for us as a nation, you have to also fight for a better financial future. So yes, this does get political. And I would suggest if that feels very overwhelming, just to start at your local level. Look at your local politics as well. Mochi agrees if you heard him bark right now. But ultimately, if you stayed this long, I truly appreciate you. If this resonated with you, if you connected with this episode, leave it a 5-star review because it definitely helps get it out to the people who need to hear this as well. If you are wanting to make sure you are staying in touch with everything that I'm posting, make sure to follow along, subscribe, and all that stuff. You can find me on social media as well. And if you are looking for support, if you are making shifts in this world, if you need help figuring out how you even find or define success, hit me up. Like I mentioned, I'm a certified life coach, and I am taking on new clients. So you can schedule your very own discovery call with me through the link in the show notes. Until next time, keep growing.